It is now officially the second half of 2024. So what lies ahead for Bitcoin and crypto? Are we going to get a continuation of the bull market? Could we see $100,000 Bitcoin and more? Or has the bull market peaked and are we down only? In this video, I want to take a look at the charts, the data, and I want to share with you what I'm seeing from that and what my expectation is for the next 6 months ahead of us. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Dirk. Subscribe to my channel down below. Follow my page on Instagram so that you do get future updates, which I post here on the channel for free. So let's start up by looking at the Bitcoin monthly returns. You can see June was negative 6.96%. So overall, that wasn't much of a down month. Yes, we'd prefer to see green, but overall, single-digit red months after such a big run-up is not really a big deal. One thing that's interesting to note here is that for the entire history of Bitcoin since 2013, every single time there has been a red month for June, it has been followed by a green month in July. You can see here red followed by green, red followed by green, red followed by green, red followed by green. So is this time going to be different? Yes or no? We had a red. Are we going to be followed by green now in July? And obviously time will tell, but there is a possibility, yes. If we look at the quarterly returns, Q2 was negative 11.92%. That definitely isn't the worst for Q2, and that still sets us up for potential recovery. Now, if you look at Q3 historically, since 2013, it's pretty much evenly split between red and green. So this month, always, July, August, even September, can be still a bit corrective, can be consolidation. Q4 is typically more green than it is red. So hopefully this year we are still going to get a green Q4. Keep in mind, there's also the US elections in November. So hopefully that's going to give us a huge pump till the end of the year. But we might be in for some correction still in July and August. Let's go take a look at the charts and see what they tell us. So the interesting thing is that in the end of June's close was not only the monthly close, it was also the quarterly close and the 6-month close. So we can start here by looking at the 6-month chart. Every candle here represents 6 months worth of price action. And what you can see here, what is nice to see, is we have had 3 massive green candles in a row. That means for the last 18 months, basically Bitcoin has been up only without any longer term correction, and that's pretty cool to see. So hopefully we do get a 4th green upside to maybe mark the top of this bull cycle. You can see in the previous cycle here there were 4, in the previous cycle there were also 4 before 1 red. So it's 4 green and 1 red. That has been the cycle so far. It's going to be interesting to see what plays out, but I do think it's possible that we do see another green 6-month candle here, even though it may end up pulling back, right? We could see something like this where it goes all the way up and before the close, so before 31 December, it pulls back, giving us potentially our cycle peak top. But that could still mean that we might be able to see up to 100,000 before the end of the year if we do get this continuation. Now, it was also the quarterly close, so now we reduced the time frame to 3 months. Every single candle is 3 months worth of data, and you can see here it was a red quarter, but still within this big green quarter before that. So overall, this is not necessarily bearish. It could just be a pause, a consolidation, especially because that pullback here on the monthly, it was basically a retest of the previous cycle's candle body highs, right? So it is still completely possible here. This was a retest, and that we could still see continuation here into Q4 until the end of the year. That is still a possibility. We haven't lost this previous cycle top yet, and that could be acting here as support for a retest before continuation higher. Now, changing the view to the monthly chart where every candle represents 1 month, and see, this is how I like to do it. You just start at the highest time frame and you work your way down to give you a better picture for long term, but also for short term. You can't only look at the hourly chart because it's too much noise in the short term, but you also can't only look at a monthly or 3 monthly chart, because that way it takes way too long for those charts to develop, right? Every candle being a month worth of data. But you can see here the similar thing, just broken down into months. You can see we are here consolidating above the previous cycle highs, and that could still potentially be bullish. Obviously, if we lose this, then it starts to look more bearish. But 60,000, 59,000. It has been holding so far, and this could still be seen as a consolidation above previous cycle highs for continuation into the end of the year. And obviously only time is going to tell, but that is one of the criteria that I'm looking for here. As long as the 60,000 is holding, then we have potential for this just to be a consolidation after this big run up, a bit of a pause, and then continuation for the final leg of the cycle. If we zoom into the weekly chart, and that gives us even a more shorter term kind of idea what's going on here, you can see this last week basically was just a wick down to retest, and it pulled back up, and this could show signs here of us indeed having 60,000 hold as support, this level over here between say 62 and 59, that's holding as support to build a base to be able to continue higher for the final and last part of this bull market. Now, one thing I also want to bring to your attention is the log scale. Okay, so we changed the scale to logarithmic to give us a better view overall on the chart. This is a weekly chart going back all the way to 2012 for Bitcoin's price action. You can see on this chart, I've overlaid the Bitcoin halvings, which happen every 4 years. So in 2012, 2016, 2020, and we just had one in 2024. You can see they're marked here with the arrows halving 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now you can also see on this chart what I have here. The red circles are about 1 year leading up to the halving. The price action has all been very, very similar. And then the real crypto bull markets and the Bitcoin pumps and the entire cycle pumps have come after the halving. Past 3 cycles. Okay, you can see here in the blue, it took 12 months after the halving to reach a peak, and we had a massive bull cycle. In 2016, it took 18 months from the halving to reach the peak, and it was a massive gain. In 2020, it took initially 12 months to hit the first high, and then another 6 months, so 18 months total for Bitcoin to reach that $69,000 peak after the halving. Now we're in a situation where we've had the halving about 2.5 months ago, almost 3 months ago. And that would mean if this were to continue, and again, there's no guarantees at all, but so far, 3 out of 3 have had this pattern. So if we are going to still peak 12 months post the halving, let's say it repeats one more time, hopefully, right? That's all what we're hoping for. But if it does, we are looking at potentially May of 2025 for a cycle peak top, which means that we still have up to 6 to 10 months of potential upside for this entire market to take off. And one of the things that I've shared in my VIP member newsletters and the private updates there, that you can go and look at the altcoins. I'm not going to do that in this video, but specifically if you go look at Doge and a lot of the altcoins, they only started to really get any sort of action about 7 months after the halving. Some of them only about 10 to 11 months after the halving, and they were pretty dead and trading sideways until that period in time. So we are now not even 3 months post the halving, and that means the cycle is still potentially repeating in exactly the same way as it has previously, where the action post halving, everyone is expecting the halving to send Bitcoin to 100,000. That could still be in play, but not immediately after the halving. We could be seeing that consolidation, and then in the next 2 or 3 months, 4 months maybe from now, so somewhere between like September and October, we could start a big push in these crypto markets that would potentially repeat a 12-month post-halving peak over there. And of course, there's a lot of factors here. There's a lot of ifs involved, and that is why, in my opinion, you should always take it level to level. So number one, you only invest risk capital, that no matter what happens, worst case, if everything goes to zero, you're okay. Number two, you need to have plans for if this is going to be a bull market continuation, or if this is the peak and we are going to go lower. So that is why I like to use a framework of if then. So if $60,000 here holds as support, then it is possible that we still have this continuation if we are still within this 12-month window post-halving. Okay, we are 3 months in now. That means we still potentially have about 9 months for us to have this bull market. If we get to a point where there's 12 months past and nothing has happened, then we can say, okay, maybe the cycle doesn't play out like that. But we are still in that potential window for the next 9 months. We are still so far holding 60,000 as support. And then the question is going to be, what is going to happen next. So then you have your plan for if 60,000 fails the support, then what happens next. And bringing the chart back to a regular linear weekly scale over here, the weekly chart for Bitcoin, in my opinion, if we lose the $60,000 level, then the next target becomes the 50-week moving average in the same way that it did in 2021. You can see over here, 2021, and exactly around the same time, you can see this was May, June, July, that we retested this 50-week moving average. So hopefully 60,000 holds. If it does, that's great, and we continue a pump higher here. Maybe this month, maybe August, September, somewhere there within the next 3 months, and we start a continuation here of this bull market. If we lose the $60,000 level, then I think this would be the next logical support around about 47, 48,000. And the cool thing here also is it has confluence here with it being this high of the 2022 bear market rally. So there is this next level of support. If we lose 60 or 59 and we continue lower, this would be the next place where I would be looking to dollar cost average or add to my positions for a potential bounce here. So either we continue here and we continue higher from here, or if we drop, we hit that level somewhere around there, around 47, 48, and then hopefully bounce and continue higher. Either way, so far, I'm still leaning towards continuation of this bull market within the next 6 months or so, 6 to 9 months, as we still are in that potential window of repeating this 4-year cycle. So let's see what this month brings us. Be sure to subscribe, follow my page on Instagram, because I will do regular updates as this develops and as the chart continues to give us more information. And if I'm right about this, that we do see continuation of this bull market and the bulk of the bull market, especially in altcoins, in the next 6 to 9 months, that means you should still really be paying attention to this market, because that means there's still potential for 10x or 20x or 30x gains in altcoins when you pay attention. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.